Welcome to his channel. Welcome to his channel. Welcome to his channel. He's meow.
Hello everybody, this is TacoBay 07. What is going on? How are you doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody out there? Want to start a new thing right now called my favorite top 5 list. Why do I want to do a top 5 list? Well, this Monday coming up right now is my birthday, and I was thinking of things, you know, for people to know me better, to know me more and stuff, things that I enjoy and like, and maybe you enjoy them as well. So the top 5 could be anything. It could be my top 5 favorite video games, my top 5 favorite movies, video game systems, favorite actors, what have you. And I just want to do this so you get to know me more, and maybe you can relate, or you probably haven't heard of the things in my favorite top 5s before and thinking, I want to check that out. But first off, let me just say the top 5, it's not like, oh, the best top 5 things of all time. No, it's my favorite top 5 things. And the reason I'm doing this, as I said before, so you get to know me a little bit more, and maybe if you know something from the top 5 list, maybe it'll bring back memories. Oh, I gotta do this again. I gotta see this again, or play this again, or watch that again. Or, you know, if you're new to it, you know, whatever I mentioned in the top 5 list, you probably will be like, oh, I want to try that out. And also, whatever my top 5 will be today, maybe the next time I do it, you know, you could bring up a suggestion like, Taco, what is your favorite top 5 video game systems? Or what's your top 5 favorite movies when you were a kid or now, or something like that? You know what I mean? And also, it being just top 5, it's very hard because I really have to pick the subject and think, okay, I'm gonna talk about my favorite toys growing up, and I really gotta think about that because top 5 favorite toys. I had a lot of toys when I was a kid, and I just have to pick my top 5. That is gonna be very hard. So let us begin the very first top 5 list. We are going to talk about video games. My top 5 favorite video games. Now this subject to me is very hard because video games have been around for a long time, and there are so many right now. I'm currently still playing video games, as you all know, and I was thinking, how do I make this shorter? Because there's so many games. So I decided this list will be my favorite top 5 games growing up as a kid. So meaning games I played, like, let's say from elementary to middle school. Maybe one day I'll do a list of my favorite top 5 video games of all time, but right now I just want to do that, my favorite top 5 games growing up as a kid. Now before I begin the list, let me just say one game that is not going to be in the list is the game Super Mario Brothers. Now let me just say I love Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers is the very first video game I've ever played, and I love it. It will always be there in my heart, but I decided not to put it on the list because there's so many other games, and you know, people probably be like, oh, of course she's going to say Mario. But my very first video game system ever was the Nintendo NES, the original Nintendo, and my first game ever was Super Mario Duck Hunt also. But you know, that's not going to be in the list, so just so you know, I love Super Mario Brothers, but it's not on the list. Alright, let's begin with number 5. Number 5, as you can see, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the arcade. That game came out in 1989, which would make me 7 years old. I remember playing this game. I played it at the arcade. Those of you that don't know what an arcade is, it's a place where you go, you hang out with your friends or with your family, spend quarters playing all different type of video games, or win like prizes. The reason I say that, a lot of you probably thinking, what is he talking about? We know what an arcade is. There's one like right down the street of mine. Is that where I live, there's not many arcades anymore. There used to be arcades all over the place. I live in Miami, Florida. The only thing close enough to an arcade that we have is either a Chuck E. Cheese or a Dave & Buster's. But there used to be so many video game places. I remember growing up, between maybe when I was like in elementary school and middle school and a little bit of high school. That's when they started dying out around here. I know somewhere out there in Miami there are probably still arcades, but from what I see, I don't see any more. There was one arcade closed down already, closed down last year, that they just opened it in the mall near where I live. Nobody ever went to that place. Nobody ever went. They had like the classic games I used to play, but there was nobody ever in, nobody in there. I always used to walk by. I never went in myself, but I was thinking, how fun, an arcade, you know, for, you know, new generations and whoever wants to go and play. But nobody ever went. It was so sad. So let me talk about this game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I loved this game. It was one of my favorite arcade games, playing as a kid. And I always used to play as Donatello. I always Donatello. And the reason I loved it is sometimes I would go to the arcade and I'm by myself and I just have my pocket full of quarters. I would start playing the game and then some other kid would join me and then another kid, and then we would like start a crowd and people would start coming to see us, and we would like go all the way to the last level. And it was such a fun game. What the game was mainly about, you started off in a burning building of a news station, and you would have to go room by room to try to save April O'Neil. And when you finally get to where April is, you have your very first boss battle with Rocksteady. I get them confused, Bebop and Rocksteady. The Rhino. Whichever the Rhino was. I know a lot of you, I grew up with Ninja Turtles, but I always got their names confused. And after you fought him, you think, oh, I saved April, but Shredder comes, grabs her, goes out the window, and you would have to go after him and then just continue the gameplay. And each level was fun. You would fight Bebop Rocksteady, you would fight the villain Baxter Stockman, you would go into sewers, into different areas until you reach the last level where you finally fight Krang and Shredder. Hadouken! Number 4 of my top 5 favorite list of games growing up was Street Fighter 2. Another game I always used to play at the arcade. It wasn't really an arcade where I went to play this game. It was an arcade machine that was located in a local pizzeria that I used to go to after school, and I always used to go and play this game, and I loved it. You used to play as characters that all of you know already: Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, and I always used to play as 3 characters. Either it was Ryu, E Honda, or Chun-Li. My favorite move to use in Chun-Li is this super kick that she does, that she goes yeah. I always used to do that, and it would make everybody upset. Whoever my opponent was, they would say, stop doing that move, because I would always defeat them with that move. The same similar move that Chun-Li had with that super kick was E Honda's fast hand. I always used to do that as well, and it made people upset as well. And the one character I was good at, I'm still good at, even in whatever game he's in now, you know, future Street Fighter games or versus games, is Ryu. I always play as Ryu. I Dukin and oh, you can, and all that. And I just love this game. And whenever a new game comes out of Street Fighter, I always think about the arcade that I used to play. Number 2 in my list is DuckTales. This game came out in 1989, which would have made me 7 years old, and it's the only game on this list that was on a system. It came out on the Nintendo NES, and I loved this game. It's one of the popular games to ever come out, I think, ever. It was based on the cartoon animated series DuckTales, which I also enjoyed. And I used to spend hours playing this game. You played as Uncle Scrooge, or Scrooge McDuck, however you want to say it, and you go to different worlds trying to get your treasure back. I loved it. There were like different enemies, different themes. There was like an Aztec level. You go to the moon. You go to a Dracula's castle, like a vampire castle type of thing, and you would fight popular villains from the TV show and made up villains, you know, in boss battles. And I was super excited because I heard last year that they brought out a remake of that game. I think one of the first remakes they've ever done, and I was shocked that they brought it out, but I was so happy to see how many people were excited when this game came out. I have not been able to play the remastered version yet because it hasn't come out, you know, for the PlayStation 4. I'm not sure if it will, but I know it came out for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox as well, I think. I'm not sure, but it was pretty much the same levels, remastered, the same enemies, bosses, and stuff like that. And I was happy for that. And I also hear that Disney's coming out with a new series of DuckTales, remastered. I think remastered or continued from where they left off, which that made me very happy. No! And last but not least, the #1 game that I loved growing up is The Simpsons Arcade. You see the family just walking around, and then something happens. Smithers, I think, robs some jewelry store or something, and there's this huge diamond that he bumps into the Simpsons, and it just flies in the air, and it gets stuck in Maggie's mouth like a pacifier, and he actually kidnaps Maggie. So through the game, you're fighting different enemies, different bosses to try to save Maggie. And you played as the Simpsons family. I always played as Homer, which was my favorite. The two popular ones were either Homer or Bart that everybody played as. And the funny thing is, a lot of people wanted to play as Marge as well because of her weapon. It was, you know, if there's a boss that you don't really want to get close to you, she had like a vacuum cleaner that can extend longer than whatever other weapon any of the characters had. So she was very popular. And this game is the only game that it got to me at the end. The boss fight, you would fight Smithers, which he was super hard for me from what I remember, and then you had to fight Mr. Burns, which was super hard as well. He was like in this giant machine and stuff like that until you finally save Maggie. So everybody, thanks for joining me. This was my favorite top 5 games growing up when I was a kid, and I'm going to continue doing this top 5. If you have any suggestions that you would like to know, like favorite movies, my favorite games now, favorite superheroes, villains, you know, just let me know. And even if you don't let me know, I'm still gonna do favorite top 5, and I'm still gonna do my gameplays and all of that fun stuff and vlogs as well. So thank you for joining me, you guys, and I hope everybody's doing okay. And just remember, embrace the blue, as I always say. If you want to know what that means, see one of my past videos, so you know, or just ask somebody, or I'll let you know next time. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you all next time. Hasta la BYE BYE, my friends. Bye bye.
Thank you for watching. I love you.